joining us. This is the first video we've ever done that we're actually going to deactivate the comments. It's not because we don't want to hear from you, it's because sometimes these videos get to people we don't necessarily want to hear from.
That's true.
And for our own mental health, we're deactivating the comments, but we still really wanted to talk about this.
And we do want to hear from you. Like if you want to send us an email.
Yeah, if you want to send us an email at justbetweenuspod@gmail.com. Love to engage with you there. We can engage with you on our Patreon. So we are recording this on May 6th, 2024. And this is months and months into Israel's genocide of Gaza, and I'd argue parts of the West Bank. And it's awful.
They're about to go, I think the Rafah thing is happening now.
Yeah. I don't know that we have anything to say that hasn't already been said, but it still feels important to say it. And especially like as a Jewish person, it feels important to say it because I feel like disgusted by how people are using claims of anti-Semitism to like allow horrible behavior to continue and to prevent peaceful protests from happening across college campuses. Yeah,
well, I think what keeps striking me is how much fear there is here in the U.S. Like, I can't speak to geopolitical politics other than to agree with what you've said, but our country was founded on protest, right? Like, every single thing that has made any sort of waves in the U.S. has been through political protest. And to say that things that happen in the U.S. don't affect, global policy is not true, because we protested for Vietnam. We protested, like, people protest for all sorts of things. I remember protesting for Darfur when I was in high school, maybe. There is a long history of people in America having thoughts, feelings, protests, political action for things that are not happening in America. Like, for people, the level of this doesn't have to do with us, I find really disgusting. And also the level of fear on both sides. Like, nobody is talking to each other. And then there are Jewish activists on the pro-Palestinian side who then are also dismissed. It's always obnoxious to me how much people agree with the Hunger Games, but then don't understand that that's what's happening. Like, if you were like, District 12 is being starved and they're,
right.
Like, people would be like, oh my God, they should fight back. But like,
right. Well, that's the whole thing. And like, I want to talk about a bit about distraction, right? So like a tool that like, people in power use, which I would say extends to Democrats in this situation.
Oh, Democrats
we have a Democratic president who is continuing this genocide.
No, Democrats are very, very at fault here.
Yes. To say that, like, yes, you can be against the issue, but you must do it, but you must show that you're against it in a way that we deem is decent and right. And so if you disobey anything, then it doesn't even matter the thing that you're protesting and how horrible and awful that is. I'm just instead going to focus on the fact that you're sitting on a lawn that you're not allowed to sit on, even though you go to that college, right? Like, it's like this, it's a distraction, it's a tactic, it's a way to make people feel like, well, you have to obey, the rules or the laws, because then, what's going to happen to the country. But it's like, hey, like, slavery used to be legal.
Yeah.
Segregation used to be legal. Just because something is legal doesn't mean that it's right. And also, like, sometimes we have to break laws in order to get people to pay attention to us. And I'd say most importantly, these protests have been peaceful until the police show up.
Yeah, I mean, they did the same things to Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, I just find that, like, this is an issue that I'm having more conflict with the people in my life over than any other issue. Like, often the people in my life I'm often aligned with politically, and that's not been the case here. There's been a lot of awful conversations I've had to have, a lot of accusations at me and my stances on things, and it sucks. It just sucks that, like, that people that you love and respect, like, can't just, like, see the big picture and can't just see that, like, hey, like, what Israel is doing is not okay. America is continuing to fund what Israel is doing. As a country, we should stand up and say we don't want to fund this. To believe that Biden doesn't have the power to pressure Netanyahu is ridiculous. Like,
well, it's also like we don't have anything here. We don't have healthcare. We don't have universal preschool. We don't have like a robust social services program. Like, we don't have anything here. Then they say, oh, sorry, we can't actually forgive student loans. We can't afford it. And it's like, you can't afford it. You just gave like $1 billion to this other country. What are you talking about?
And like, I get that a lot of older generations grew up with like very positive messaging around Israel, but like, we have to separate the reality of the country Israel is today from the idea of what Israel was supposed to be, and also Jews in general. Like, to not support the Israeli government is not anti-Semitism, and anyone that tells you that it is trying to manipulate you and trick you. The idea that I'm like, Israel is committing genocide and we shouldn't support genocide, and then for someone to say, hey, like, I don't agree with what Israel's doing, but it's not genocide. Like, how can that be where your brain goes? Like, how can that be the thing that, like, that the technicality of a word, where meanwhile, I would argue it's 100% genocide, because they're getting rid of all of the infrastructure and they're starving the population. So, like, if your whole thing is like, well, they haven't killed every single Palestinian, it's like, sure, but their tactics eventually will. Like, there's many ways to kill people, and starvation and withholding aid is a huge way to do that. And also, just like, if you leave them with a country that doesn't have any hospitals, doesn't have any universities, doesn't have anything, how do they live there?
Yeah. I mean, I hate to get, it's funny, like, I'm like, oh, I'm a conspiracy theorist, but like, so far, the conspiracies have been pretty accurate. Like, I do think, I don't know, I don't want to get a huge conspiracy about it, but like, right, they fought us on defunding the police so that they could build more cop cities, so that they could get, people on the side of, because people don't know what's good for them, so people then go on the side of the cops being like, look at these rowdy protesters. Thus, I think, like, it led to these increased militarizations, which then now we're seeing used against the protesters here on the college campuses. Like, I feel like everything is like a direct line, and maybe that's not a conspiracy theory, maybe it's actually probably just the truth, but like, I think a lot of that stuff, and we could go even further back, led people to the thought process now of like being okay with violence in a way, like being fine with like a militarized country going into another country. Like, I think we all got like slowly, I think a lot of people, even Democrats, like, slowly got like moved to that direction.
Like, if you're someone that is more upset about the way a protest goes than the thing that they are protesting, I would really ask you to look at yourself and wonder why that is, and why the destruction of a university's property, which they will absolutely be able to fix and like rebuild, no problem, is more upsetting to you than the lives of thousands of people and children. Like, why? Why is property damage more upsetting to you than a genocide? That's mind-blowing to me. And also, the property damage is happening because of the police. Like, it's like, it is so comical, like, how evil it all is.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it gets into conspiracy theory for me. But I guess it's probably just not conspiracy theory. I don't have to like preface it or anything.
So honestly, we're just making this video. We're not telling you anything you probably don't already know. The majority of our audience, I feel like, is really on the right side of this issue. But just like our main messaging as to Jewish creators is being anti the Israeli government is not the same thing as being anti-Semitic. Being pro-Palestinian is not the same thing as being anti-Semitic. If you care more about how people protest and what they're protesting, that says a lot about you and your moral character. And it's really important that we keep talking about this, even though it's really uncomfortable and there's a lot of risk. But that's the other thing, is like, some people are in more of a position to take that risk than other people.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that people that like can use their voice without too much fallout in their lives, really should be. But there are also people where they don't have that luxury, and they have certain employers and family members and things where it's just not possible.
Yeah.
But if you find that you're able to support this cause and keep talking about it, we urge you to. And
I would also look into now that the straw has broken the camel's back. Like, people should be looking into everything that the U.S. government is funding. The Boko Haram is still going on, where they kidnap girls from school. There's a genocide in the Congo. There's genocide in China. Like, the U.S. and not to be like, oh, we can only care about things the U.S. has a hand in, but like, the U.S. has its hand in almost all of it. And that is something that we then pay money for, only to not receive any services back for us. And don't let them tell you, oh, we just can't afford to, the government can't afford to, because clearly they can.
And the only way that change happens is by causing disruption. Like, oppressors don't freely give away their power. They have to be forced to.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes, unfortunately, the current Democratic Party.
What do you think, this is just an aside, but what do you think is going to happen with the election? Because I feel like everyone is mad at Joe Biden, and then there's Trump, and then there's just like RFK kind of sneaking his little head in there.
I know some people don't agree with this. I will still be voting for Joe Biden if he is the Democratic candidate.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the alternative is just unbelievably worse. I don't think it's true that the state of America will be the same under Trump as it would be under Biden.
No, definitely not. And Trump's made that very clear.
Very clear.
But it's still like horrible.
So I will be voting for Biden. I won't be excited about it, but I will be.
Yeah.
And I think that from there, we keep pushing. We vote local. We try to build up our state governments to be more progressive.
No wonder it's gotten to this point. Like, think about, like, last time we said that.
Yeah.
2020 we said that. You think these kids that they kept inside for all of high school and then said you gotta vote for Joe Biden, you vote for Joe Biden, then it's still bad, and you think they're gonna be like docile little college kids?
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, Gen Z is our last hope.
Yeah,
like,
you
Gen
think
Z
that they're
has
just
to save
gonna?
us.
They're just not, you know.
But so thank you everyone who's been doing so much. Thank you to all of the college students, the protesters, the activists. We support you, and there'll be some links below for places to donate.